We got some things we got to talk about. I didn't expect to be covering this topic this morning, but here I am. And I'm sure a lot of people coming into this are probably expecting me to drag this man, because those of you guys that have followed me for a long time know that we just haven't really effed with each other for quite a while. I talked with him back in like 2019, early 2020. And then I kind of separated from him because I just didn't like the way that he moved amongst people that he called his friends. It just felt like he was using a lot of people. And so I just exited left and just did my own thing. But I don't really have anything against him. I was happy when he hit 1 million, no different than Crypt, No Life Shaq. Like, people that were amongst the community we had back then, I'm happy to see them thrive. So this is not a video jumping on to laugh and be like, ha ha ha, I knew it, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna try to be as unbiased and logical as possible, which doesn't mean I'm gonna defend him, but it also doesn't mean I'm gonna throw him under the bus, because I've seen a lot of the tweets and I've seen some of the videos proving that the tweets are real, and apparently he has a response that he's gonna drop sometime today, which we may make a second video and kind of just break down what he says versus what the tweets are, and then we'll just kind of figure things out from there. But for right now, I just want to present you guys all the stuff that I've come across, and I'm more so just looking to see what your opinion is. Now, my thumbnail is probably a little bit crazy, and it might look like that means I'm gonna drag him, but I saw somebody had put him over the face of the guy from the island, and I'm not gonna say the guy's name. I think we all know who it is, and I just thought that shit was mad funny, so I had to put that in my thumbnail. Now, that aside, there's a lot of tweets that have surfaced, and it looks like he's trying to claim that they're not real, and I don't know if that's the best approach, because there are videos that people took proving that the tweets were really on his account. Now, I want to go through a bunch of the tweets, but first I'm going to start with the ones that people are spreading that I don't think really hold as much weight as some of the crazy ones that I saw, but I guess altogether as a collection is just not really a good look. So the first thing that I want to do is just go over the fact that he's 33 years old today. He was born June 25th of 1991, and I feel like the age is important because it adds context to the tweets. Obviously, if he was 33 tweeting these versus being 19 or 20, it's a little bit different. I'm not saying that it's not weird, but I just want to make sure that we're clear on how old he was when some of these tweets came out. And when we do go over the tweets, I will say the age that he was for each of them. So in this first tweet from March 4th of 2012, he was 20 years old, and it said, "And last night was the best example of why messing with younger chicks can waste 2 hours of your life or more at a time." Now, the only problem I have with people using tweets like this is the fact that he says younger doesn't necessarily mean underage. If he's 20 years old, younger could be 19 or 18. And I don't personally think there's a problem with that. Now, where he's from in Nebraska, the age of consent is 16. Now, legally, he could be talking about a 16-year-old. Morally, we can still judge him for that. But without any more context, I don't know what he's talking about when he says younger chicks. Now, again, I'm not trying to defend him. This is somebody I don't F with, and you'd think that I would take this and just jump on it and try to make it something that it might not be. But I feel like that's wrong. So I just have to be honest. As far as the context goes, I don't know what he meant by this. Now, some of the crazier tweets do have more specific ages, and at that point, I feel like you could combine the two and it looks kind of crazy, and that's a possibility. But I can't say from this alone that I know what he meant by that. Now, another one of the tweets that I came across says, "After 5 to 6 drinks, them skinny bitches will do anything you want." And obviously, this doesn't really have to do with age, but again, people are going to look at it a little bit weird because it's basically saying you want to get these girls drunk and then they'll do anything that you want, which people can look at as taking advantage of them. And again, I'm not defending him. I know it looks that way. Just, you got to watch and let the video play out. Let me cook, but I'm going to talk about the ones that I don't think have any basis. And this is kind of one of them. Like, if he's out getting drunk and they have 5 to 6 drinks, he's drinking as well, and they go home and they have a good time, I don't feel like there's a problem with that. Almost every single person watching this video that's of age that has drank has probably hooked up with somebody while both of you were drunk. And that's just normal. That's just regular life. I know they try to paint it a certain way nowadays, and that's weird to me. Now, if you're going out and you're not drinking, but you're feeding a chick drinks and then bringing her home, that's a little bit odd, because now you're getting her drunk knowing that her inhibition is going to be down, and you being sober can take advantage of that. That shit is really goofy. I don't agree with that at all, but I don't know what he meant by this. So again, I'm not going to use this one to throw him under the bus. Another one of the tweets where he uses the term young says, "You got young bitches in the boom boom. How many and how old? LOL, this summer it's F these hoes." So based on the date, this is another tweet that he put out when he was 20 years old. And again, he uses the term young. And I don't really know what he means by that. And I don't know what his mind thinks of when he says young. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky. He says, "Just seen a group of girls that I'm assuming are still in high school. All I'm gonna say is they didn't look like that when I was 16. And this is definitely a weird tweet, but it's also funny to me because I'm gonna be honest with you, anybody who's a little bit older, I feel like you've heard people say this shit a bunch. And I'm not saying that it's okay that it was said, but there was a lot of times when I was in school and I'd hear older people say, wow, they didn't make the girls like they make them nowadays when I was your age. And I never really thought twice about it. But I guess when you really think about it, it is kind of a weird thing to say. And clearly he felt the same way because he ended up deleting that tweet. Now, these next two tweets are the weird ones that I feel like he really needs to address. And he can't just say that they're fake because somebody already posted a screen recording and it showed it a part of a quote tweet. And when you clicked on it, it said that the post was deleted. And I feel like just claiming that it's fake and trying to say, I don't know how they did it or how they made it, like it's not gonna work. The first of the two says a girl under the age of 18 without kids, hashtag that's sexy as hell. Now, depending on what age he means by younger than 18, legally he could be in the right because as I keep saying, 16 is the legal age of consent in Nebraska. Morally, it doesn't make it right. And he was 20 when he posted this. So that's for each of y'all to make up your mind on how you feel about that. But this is the one where somebody had a screen recording showing that this was an actual tweet. So for his own sake, I hope that he tries to explain this one and doesn't just say that it's fake. It's just gonna look bad if you try to play it off that way. Now, the last crazy tweet that I saw, and this one takes the cake, is some wild shit to say on Twitter, but this was back when he was 19, so he was a lot younger, but he says, not gonna lie, gang, I miss freshman box. Might have to request a 5th year in high school. Now, I'm assuming that when he actually slept with people that were freshmen, he was younger than 19, but to say that you miss it is crazy work. I just don't know what went through his mind that made him think this is a good idea to tweet right now. Like if it was regarding 12th or 11th graders, I wouldn't think as much of it because when he was in 12th grade, those same students would have been juniors or sophomores. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was in high school, a sophomore dating a senior, it was normal. Like we were all pretty much in the same space. Now, at the same time, he did have some other tweets from that same period where he's hating on people that are older, talking to people in high school. And I'm not saying that it negates any of his weird tweets, but I feel like the context is important because it makes you wonder if he was just saying shit at a time when people were a lot darker and doing a lot of weird shit on Twitter to try to get clicks and views. And that might have been his purpose. I don't really know. I'm not going to say that that is because, again, I'm not here to defend him or attack him. I really just want to present the information. So on May 12th of 2014, I believe he would have been 22 when he tweeted this. He says, it's 2014. We graduated in 2010. Some people have graduated college. So why is it dudes from my class still effing with high school girls? Ew. And then in another tweet from October 11th of 2011, when he was 20 years old, he says, ninjas, if you've been out of high school almost 3 to 4 years now, it's not okay to talk to chicks in high school, point blank period, hashtag nasty ninjas. So I feel like this is where the video is going to get interesting. And I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say down in the comments, but I added those two tweets because I feel like it's important context, given that they came out around the same time as the weird tweets that he's being dragged for. And I don't know why he would say two completely separate things. Like on one hand, he's saying you shouldn't talk to girls that are in high school still once you've graduated. But on the other hand, he's saying I miss freshman box. So I completely understand why people are trying to run with the pedo allegations. I wouldn't necessarily call him that. I would say that he's weird. I just don't know if it's to the point where I'm gonna label him something that I feel like we throw around a little bit too often nowadays. So I'm gonna leave that to you guys to decide. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. But there is one more piece to this story. In one of his tweets where he tried to deny that any of these were real, he says, I found it weird that all these OVO accounts found this tweet at the exact same time. I was confused because I obviously never said this. I Googled and searched the tweet before I deleted it. Now, I'm not even going to complete that anymore. The fact that he says he Googled and searched it before he deleted it is really odd to me. Now, I don't know if that's a Freudian slip and he just accidentally said some shit that he shouldn't have said, or if he genuinely mistyped it, but he did go on and edit the tweet. And as you can see by the part that I highlighted, he says, for clarification, when I say delete, I don't mean all the tweets. I couldn't find the tweets. I meant the original quote post on my page I made. And I always leave open the possibility that he could be telling the truth. Regardless, there's supposed to be a video that drops today where he claims that he's going to explain it. And I really hope he doesn't go down the fake tweet route and just kind of explains himself and says, listen, I was young, so on and so forth. He could even show some of the other tweets where he's saying you shouldn't talk to people in high school. And I feel like it'd probably be the better route. But if he goes on just saying this is fake, I feel like it's not going to work out as great for him. So I just wanted to talk about this. I'm curious to see what you guys think. I wasn't trying to drag him or defend him. I try to look at things as logically as possible, regardless of the fact that I don't F with him. I'm not going to jump into this bias and just throw him under the bus. I'm curious to see what he says, how he explains it, and then we'll kind of break it down and go from there in another video. But I appreciate you guys. I will catch you in the next one, homies.